G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Bonsai Works. I'm David. I'm back into doing some more work on bonsai now that it's towards the end of summer. We haven't had a very hot summer here in Melbourne, so it's been quite mild, so a lot of work has been done in terms of maintaining pretty much maples, just keeping them trimmed up a lot, and just decandling in summer for black pines. Now, soon there'll be a lot of work on junipers and so on as we come in towards the end of summer, early autumn, but that's for future videos. Today I want to really get stuck into some of these pines that I've got that I've been twisting up over the years, but now I'm kind of over it. In terms of, kind of had enough trying to grow these things. I think let's just put a final style in them and then just grow them in that style, and that's it kind of thing. So I'm going to try something a bit drastic with this tree. Now I'll just give you a little tour spin of this tree. It was pretty much a long stick pretty much. I've put some massive bends in it over the years. The branches become quite twisted. This has got nice movement back and forward, interesting movement up here, and then the big whip out there. So I don't know, I'm just going to be trying to be creative here, trying to be imaginative in how we can style this. I don't want to make the tree go this way. I want to try and bring this all the way back around and create some sort of tree in here with this branch. It should be flexible enough. It's going to be a little bit tricky. There's a bit of a wound here, so I'm hoping it doesn't crack in this spot. But you know what? To create something interesting, I want to create a smaller tree, a bit more dynamic, maybe an apex in here, and maybe this branch actually can work perfectly in here to create some sort of lower branch, and then the apex in here with this, probably this, there's one branch in here that I'll probably keep in here in the back. That one there is probably going to be the only one I'm going to really keep anyway. This will probably come off, but I'm just going to finally create something that's interesting in this tree and just keep it in that position and not do much else with it. I don't want to really grow it on anymore. I'm kind of over it, as I said. So first thing, I'm going to put a bit of heavy gauge wire on this branch. As you've always known in my videos, I've always put heavy wire to actually be able to bend it. I don't use raffia. I'll use a heavy gauge wire that's coiled, very short coils in between, so it's easy to twist around. So I'm going to go away and apply at least 6mm wire onto this branch and see how we go in terms of bending it, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I've applied 2 rows of 6mm aluminium wire to this part of the trunk. I've anchored it on a dead branch here, so we're not going to really bend any of this, which I wasn't going to anyway, but just want to work on this area. So I want to see if I can bend this around. Now there's going to be probably branches in the way, but that's okay. We'll always figure out what we're going to do with them eventually. I know there's a couple we have to get rid of, so this one's got to go. So just a little one. But I want to try and get, as I said, I want to try and get this around into here. So it's pretty much 180 I need to do. I'm not going to use raffia, as I mentioned. I might need to use guide wires eventually to hold it in place. Guide wire it to somewhere here, create a much shorter, smaller tree. So let's see how we go. I'll try not to get my hands in the way as best I can, but safety of the tree is the most important. So I might have to turn it this way. I always check if I've cracked anything. No, it's still done okay. So let's keep going. Let's see how far we've come. So it's probably gone 90 degrees now, so we can see where we are. That branch that I really want to keep is going well. It might end up, I'm just going to remove this. The branch I wanted to try and build an apex with is now here. So I want to keep going around, try to get it right around the trunk. So we keep going. I might have to use the guide wire soon to just guide wire this into place before I turn everything else around. So guide wires are really good to really hold branches in place, because I don't think that's going to bend too much more with my pressure, but I'm going to keep going. So it's coming around. I'm just going to put a guide wire to hold this in place now. I use copper to do that because it holds better than aluminium. So I'll just get some copper and ready to go. So I would thread it through a bit of the wire through some of these, through the wire. So now what I do is hold it with one hand and tighten and tighten and tighten as much as I can. All right, that's just with a good bit of guy wire, really tightening that up. Now you can see this branch now starting up here, and that should eventually form. I'm hoping it'll probably just be these two branches in the end. That's all we need. But I will try and get that around, see if that makes sense to have something around there, because I've got to bring this around to help bring this around as well. It's like a leverage point to bring it right around. There's also another good branch down here, which I might use as well. It's not a bad one. It's for in the back. So I will need to keep bringing everything around. Now, I've tightened the guy wire. Now, I'll come back tomorrow and tighten it a bit more. Like, I'll slowly tighten it each day until it's pretty close, pretty tight against these two branches will be pretty tight. You can probably see the gap now that's in between. So I'll probably get even a bit tighter than that. It's pretty easy to really bend trees, as you can see. Especially black pines, I find are very flexible. And this is doing really well. So I'll keep trying to bring that around a bit more, of course. All right, so just so you can see, I brought it right around into the front. This big long one's in the front now. Probably got to go a little bit more. And what I did is I changed something. That branch that I wanted to use for the new apex was going to go around the outside of this trunk. Now I've put it in through, threaded it through in here, in the gap. So it's now threaded through. It's a bit safer for the branch. It's in there. It's all a convoluted mess right now, but we will work all this out. Try to find an interesting tree. But as you can see, I've been able to bend it all the way around very roughly, or go a bit tighter and so on, as I probably have to rearrange some of the guy wires and get that in. Maybe I will use this branch as well. Could possibly. We'll see. But there you go. That's how I am at the moment. So we'll see. I'm just going to leave the tree alone for a little bit, just to let it recover after this big bend. And we'll come back and keep styling it. So I've managed to obviously guy wire that and make it nice and tight. So you can see how really tight that is. No raffia at all. No breakage. No even parting of the bark. It's really well. Didn't even move. It's fantastic. Then I was able to bend this branch all the way around, back on itself. Comes back right in, and it's now kind of in the front here. It's very long, but it's actually been able to bend it quite well. Haven't even put a guy wire. It's just purely having enough thickness of wire of 6mm to bend that right around. I put a bit of wire on these other branches that I'm going to keep, and now it's a matter of trying to style it in the position I want. I think around there is going to be the front. Kind of can see some of this. The trunk is actually going slanting away, which is good, interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to keep this. We'll see how it all fits in the design. But the main things are 1, 2, and a third branch at the back we're going to work with. So I'm going to play around now. This is now the fun bit where you just try and be creative and try and come up with a design. Now, a lot of these are too long. They've got some nice smaller branches on the inside, which is going to be good for the future. So you might eventually cut back this tree once these small ones develop a bit more. I've got some nice small ones up the top, so I'm not sure how I'm going to use them. They could fit in the design, but for now, I'm just going to remove a couple of things that I'm definitely not going to keep. I'm not going to keep this really big one. I'm going to get rid of that so we can actually see what we're doing. So I've got two nice smaller ones in the front now. Not sure I'll keep them, but we'll leave them there for now. Maybe if we make them smaller and make them a front branch or something eventually. Make it, if you go twist it a bit, like if you bend the branch in and then back and forward, you can actually reduce the length. So this is quite long anyway still, but you get the idea. You twist the branch, bend the branch back. So I'm going to do this one now here. I'm going to do the same thing with this branch. If I go backwards, I go back, make a shorter branch. Back, and then come forward, and bend it bend it around more, and you get a nice small branch out of it. Yeah, I'm not liking this, but yeah, I might have to remove it, but we'll keep it there for now. So nice, because this is now sitting above it and it's kind of hitting it, so it's not really in the way. So even though I was able to bend it quite well, help me bend it all the way through, I think this is a bit of a waste. But I'm using it as leverage point right now to get this branch at the back right around into somewhere, into here to keep some depth. I'm going to do something with the top. So I'm pretty sure I don't want to keep this. It's not in the right spot and it's causing me a bit of grief. So I'm going to cut it off, but I'm going to leave, there's some nice smaller stuff at the back over here I'm going to leave. So a bit of a waste of wire, but it is what it is. So that's gone. So taking that bit off, that I don't think it's going to be, I left a stub there, just for dieback. But it looks a lot better now with that removed. So now I can actually drop this branch in a better position in here. Now I can wire these little guys out as well. Something a bit more interesting now is happening in this area. All right, so here I've got 1, 2, 3 in the one spot. So I'm going to take that little one out. It's just too big and heavy. So I'm going to take this middle bit out. So I've got finer growth. Got a nice little side one and some smaller ones up here. So we're slowly reducing the tree, trying to create something more interesting tree. It's already starting to happen. I'm going to go put some wire on these small ones and try and start to fit them in into place. But we've got the main things out of the way, main bending done. I'll needle pluck some areas that need to be needle plucked so if we can actually see the branching. So like for example, you don't need all these inside branches. I mean lower branch, they're old needles, so they'll fall off anyway. So just leave the new ones, because then we can actually do some, candle pruning in summer, and then bud selection, maybe get back budding as well. So lots of things can happen. All right, so we kind of see now a little bit more of a structure, a little bit something more interesting. As I said, I'm going to wire these branches, all the small ones, and we'll come and put them all in place, and hopefully we can get something good looking. So here is how the tree is going to kind of end up looking initially. So I've kind of set all the main branching. So the main 1, 2, and the young ones. I got rid of that one at the back. Just didn't think it was going to work having it there. So I've got nice smaller branching happening at the back now. Much smaller, much more interesting and refined. So it shouldn't be such a long branch that's causing all the branching. I've got my 2 main branches giving me that. And I've got lots of little small ones that are going to be used to build the rest of the tree. So now, in a way, this tree just needs time to fill out and develop. So it's kind of got a nice structure in there. So nice, we can build an apex in here. We've got the 1, 2 main branches and some back branching. And that's going to keep it nice and compact into a little, almost waterfall-y kind of effect. So a nice little crown, water falling down into these lower branches. All right, so I'll finish this one off here because the video will get too long if I do the other 2. But stay tuned for more videos and trying to use a lot of twisty kind of trees and material to make them even more interesting and quite out there. So this is a bit of an out there tree. Will be very unique in the future, and hopefully it recovers really well and be having a good look at it in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.